Hello everyone, this is another quick video on the LyraGame. A friend of mine asked me how to extend it so they can make their own game without affecting the Lyra core. And they found a video. I'm just going to grab it up onto the screen in a second. Let's find it. And here it is on YouTube. It's cool. It's by Modular UE5. And this guy's doing a community game using Lyra. Looks really good. I suggest you check it out. And the title is a UE5 Lyra asset referencing error, proper fix, mastering Lyra framework. And my friend said, I've done all this, but I'm still getting errors and it's not working. So I said, all right, I'll have a look. I watched the video. Video's fine. Everything is correct. The only thing is it's not really a bug, it's just you've got to do things in the right order, restart at the right time and stuff. And also there's a little bit more you can do, which I'm sure this guy's going to come on to. So this is the video he watched, so I need to just give a shout out for that, and I will show you the way to using this idea and with some folders and things, and then also changing the name of the your final package build. Still referencing Lyra, but with a different EXE name. So the idea is that you can keep it all modular. You don't affect the core Lyra game when you're doing this, and that's all good. So what I've got is just a blank Lyra game. So I've gone to the launcher, created a new Lyra game, but I've called it Super Game, as you can see up here in the top right hand corner. It's not called LyraGame, it's called Super Game. So when you do that and you create a new one, you can choose the folder you want it to go into, and it defaults to Lyra Starter Game, I think it is. So in there you can change it and call it whatever you want to call it. So I've just called it Super Game, but we'll come back to that in a second. So I'm recording this at 1080p, so I'm just going to do a couple of little things to make it a bit easier for me. So in here I'm going to go and make these small. That's better. And then we can see what we need to see. Okay, so and the other thing I'm going to do is in my editor preferences and appearance, I'm going to change this to main window because it bugs me. Things don't open at the top here, they open in the middle, and I don't like it. Right. So the idea is that, as you know, Lyra's got a lot of plugins, which are great. I love plugins. But what we really need is our own plugin that we can put all our things in, because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to be in here and you're going to be probably, let's say, shoot core, and you're looking at these experiences, and you're going to be altering these around to do your own thing. And what will happen is Epic will update the Lyra shooter game, and it will overwrite all the wonderful things that you've done. So how to get around that, and how to get around the error, as mentioned in the other guy in Modular UE5's video, how to get around the error. So what we want to do is we want to go to plugins. So we want to go to edit plugins if you haven't got it open already. I have, so here it is. And type in modular. If I could spell modular. Right. And these four modular plugins need to be enabled. And then we want to add our own one. And we're going to do game feature content only, and we want to definitely don't change this path, and then we're going to call it what we want to call it. So I'm going to call this Super Game Module. You could call it what you like, and I'm going to call it by me, and Super Game Core Module. How about that? And I'm going to create that. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is edit the plugin, and I'm going to come down here and I am going to add a dependency, because this is how you get around the errors, and this is going to be shooter core. Okay, save. I'm actually done with that now. What that's done is in here, it's put a new, under your plugins, it's put a new folder in here, Super Game module content, and all it's got is this data asset, which is what we want. Now, first problem that you're going to get is, for some reason, although it appears here now, when I close this and come back into it again, it's going to be gone. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that. So I'm just going to close this, and this is an important thing you need to do. So close it, and then we're going to reopen it again. Okay, and we're back. So you've closed the project down, you've opened it again, but what's happened is, if we go in plugins, we've now lost it. So we need to go back into the plugins, and we need to search for it, which we called it Super Game. Here it is, and we need to enable it, and that will force another restart. And here we are back again. I'm not going to call that a bug, but I don't know. It's I wonder if when you create it, if you go into plugins and untick it and tick it again, maybe that sorts it out. I don't know. But anyway, whichever way around you're going to do it, after you've made it, close your project, open it again, make sure that it's there, and if it's not there, do what I just did. Well, it won't be there unless Epic changes it sometime in the future, but you just need to do that. So now we're happy. Now if I close this again and open it again, it will always be back, because now for some reason it will have the ticking. There it is, ticked, and it stays ticked now. Strange one, but there you go. I'm going to close this plugins. Right, so what else do we need to do? One other important thing, in project settings, in asset manager, in the primary asset types to scan, I think it's number 4. Yeah, that was a good guess. We've got our experiences are in game system experiences. We need to hit the plus, and we need to tell it that we've also got experiences going on in our super game module. That's very important. Now, the other thing is, that setting seems to get picked up when the editor loads. Now, if I try and use it now, it kind of works. It causes all kinds of problems, which I think is what my friend had the issue of. But really, so what we need to do is close it again. And we're back. A bit annoying, but now that should be the last time we need to do that. So we've now got the plugin. Let's just check that it's still ticked. Yeah, it does stay ticked now. So that's good. We've got the, where are we? We've got the folder with our data asset in. That's pointing towards shooter core for its dependency. So that's all good. And we added the directory into the project settings. So now it's happy that this directory is now going to work with Lyra without any errors. Which is cool, because now what it means is we can do a couple of things. And I'm going to add a directory called my experiences. Probably spelled that wrong, but never mind. Let's make this a bit bigger so you can read it. Do you know what? It's funny, isn't it? When you go to small icons, it doesn't do the writing very well. But if you make it bigger, it's like crazy big. Well, I suppose that's not too bad actually. You've only got a couple of folders, right? So my experiences I've made. I'm also going to make another one called my maps. Oops, my maps. Okay. And Lyra's going to be happy now it knows about this folder for us to do this. So I'm going to create a new map, new level. I'm just going to use a blank one, and I am going to put in it one thing, which is going to be a Lyra. Actually, maybe I did one. Lyra player start. There we go. Cool. I'll just make sure that's grounded. And now I'm just going to spread some of these out actually, because we're going to. Okay, we got 4 starts in there. Now I'm going to file save all, and it's going to ask me where I want it, and I'm going to put it into my super game maps, and I'm going to call it my test map. I'm going to save it. Now this will save with no errors, and this was the problem that you get because you're referencing things in here, but if you've done this correctly you won't get any errors. And what we can then do is we can then give it a default experience. Let's call it elimination, let it load that up, and it should be absolutely happy for me to save this map using that, because it's all referenced correctly to the shooter core. Okay, so now if we play this for the first time, yeah, where's our other? Oh, there he is. Yeah, that's all working fine. Great. So we've now got our map. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into project settings, into maps and modes, and I'm going to change this to my test map, and I'll change this to my test map. I'm going to save that. So now it will load into my map. Now the other thing we're going to do is, you probably don't want to, if you want to use this experience, and you probably don't, you want your own one. If we go into shoot a core, into experiences, and we copy the elimination when we duplicate it, and I'm going to call this B underscore, don't know, campaign mode, whatever it is. Right, and now I can let's put it in my experiences folder right down there, move it, file, save all, no errors, that's really good. Now this map can now use the campaign mode. Now if you drop this list box down and you don't see that in there, in fact you'd have got quite a few errors before now, but let's just save it all, make sure it's happy. And the reason that that appears in there and it's all happy is because in your project settings, if you remember in your asset manager, you added our super game module directory in here, so it's quite happy. Now what we've actually done here is we've now got all of our bits of our game in this super game module plugin, which is cool for a couple of reasons. One is that we're not touched any of the core Lyra stuff. So this sits separately, and you know it does because it's a plugin, because you can see it in here. Which means we can copy this to any other. So if if Epic release a new Lyra game and you've got everything, you've done everything this way in this folder, because it is a plugin, as we know, you can just pop this back into the new LyraGame. So this super game module will live in your plugins game features folder, and it will be called super game module. So literally copy it from there, drop it into your plugins game features of your new LyraGame, and you'll have everything that you did back in that. And the only other thing you would need to do is to add that directory in here, and that's it. That should work. So that's the first thing. So now what we've got is we've got everything in here. So any maps that we want to add, we add in my maps. Any experiences, we put in my experiences, and we can add more folders in here for the different bits. But the important thing is we don't alter any of the LyraGame core stuff. We just duplicate it, rename it, copy it into our plugins folder, and use it from there. And reference it where we need to reference it and things like that. And again, project settings, this shows you where its asset manager, where it likes to find everything, and that stops you removing these asset policies, which are actually a really good idea. I mean, I've seen some videos, the easiest way to do it is that, you know, people are removing the policies, but really they're there for a reason, which is to stop you accidentally getting yourself in a right pickle, where when Epic bring out another version of Lyra, you're just in a complete mess, to be honest. So this is a really neat way of doing it. Right, so now there's going to be a little bit of a break. You won't notice it while I package this. So I'm going to go to Platforms, Windows, and its Development, LyraGame, and I'm going to package this. And you'll see that when you package it, it's called LyraGame EXE, and then we'll sort that out, because we actually want it to be super game, don't we? Not LyraGame. We don't want to suggest that we've created this, because Epic has created this, but what we've done with our map is we've extended it. So that's what Epic say. They say use LyraGame to extend, and let's see what you can make from it. So we're not hiding the fact that we're using LyraGame, as you'll see, but the EXE, the icon and everything will be super game extended from the Lyra platform. You'll see what I mean. But I'm going to just build this again. So Windows, package it up, Development, and LyraGame. So package product, and it's going to ask me, I've got the online services SDK, and you probably won't see this, that's fine. Okay, and we're back, and it takes a while to package, doesn't it, the first time, but anyway, done now. But what you'll see is we've got a super game folder, but our EXE is called LyraGame. If we open it, I hope, there we go. So there's our new map that we did. So that's all working fine. Now, after you've packaged it the first time, you'd have to change all that. That doesn't really look right, does it? But anyway, that's our super game. When you've packaged it the first time, back in your back in the folder, so in my case, my super game folder, the first time you've packaged it, it will create the thing that we need. In binaries, Win64, it's going to create this LyraGame target. It's not there until you package it the first time. So I'm just going to use Notepad++ and pop that in. And where it says target name at the top, what I'm going to do is change that to super game. And that's literally, whoops, that's literally it. Didn't mean to do that. That's literally it. Right. Actually, let's leave that open. The other thing, yeah, let's do that anyway. In the lib file, import descriptor says LyraGame. Technically speaking, that should, oops, should say super game. I don't think it actually matters, because we renamed we called the project Super Game when we started. But what that does in there is that is actually where it changes the folder name. But I think, thinking about it, it's already called Super Game anyway, so we probably didn't need to do that. But anyway, if you ever want to know how to do it, that's how you do it. Right, so now all we need to do is build again. And it won't take very long this time, because we've already done it once. So back in here again, exactly the same. Windows, development LyraGame, and we're going to package it. Ignore that. And I'm going to package it. Okay, so now when we look in the folder, there we go, Super Game EXE. Now interesting, Super Game EXE, Super Game folder, but in binaries, we will still see LyraGame, which is right. We want to use the LyraGame framework, but what we want to see is our Super Game EXE. Now you'll notice it's got the Lyra icon on it. Actually, let's just test this first. I know it'll work because it's just a pointer at the end of the day. Yeah, that's fine. Right. So, icon, I probably should have changed that. That's easy. Every project comes with an icon, and that is in build, I think. Okay, so that'll be in the build folder in Windows, and there it is. So what you want to do is you want your own ICO. It's probably, what is it, 64 by 64, I should imagine, if not smaller than that. It's a tiny icon. And then just yeah, call it application ICO and get rid of this one and put your one in there. And when you package it, you'll find that your icon is here. Trust me, it will work. So there you go. So there we go. So what we've done is, just a recap, is that we haven't affected anything inside the Lyra framework. We've created ourselves our own plugin, which we can reuse any other time we want to do it. So we could create a new LyraGame project. We could go to plugins, and we could add our plugin in just by copying it into the plugins folder before we open the project. Into the plugins folder, in plugins, game features it will be. Drop it in there, and come back in here, plug it all in into your, add the plugin in plugins, and tick it, restart, boom, and then you will have your maps and your experience and everything back into a clean copy of Lyra. So that's really cool. And the other thing that we did was a quick way of just changing that EXE name and the icon to match. We haven't changed the underlying LyraGame because at the end of the day we're not trying to suggest that we created all this ourselves, because we didn't, did we? Epic did, but they've allowed us very kindly for free to build on top of it. So hopefully you've seen that this is a way of building on top. Well, anyway, I hope it helped someone. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.